Bienvenidos a un programa más de Adelante. Hoy, Advanced Wireless System dona el establecimiento de este sistema a una escuela cada año. También, la Mujer Latina y el Centro de la Mujer Latina con UW-M tienen un programa para combatir la violencia doméstica. Y Luis Pererín, de la Liga de Mujeres Votantes, habla de la importancia de que la mujer latina participe en su organización. Muchos de nuestros estudiantes sufren académicamente por no tener suficientes recursos. The Royal Marine y Advanced Wireless System está tratando de romper estas barreras con el Wireless School Initiative, un programa que cada año ofrece wireless internet a una escuela elegida por su excelencia.
Well, the Wireless School Initiative is actually an outcropping of what our company and our associates wanted to do. We've been lucky and fortunate enough to be quite successful, and we thought it was time we did something to give back to the community. When we looked at the Milwaukee area as a whole, we did see a list of issues there, but they all had a common denominator, and that was education. So we went back and thought and had put together a committee, and everyone agreed we should make our donation towards an education initiative. And it was a natural, being a wireless networking company, to go ahead and introduce this new technology into the schools that really had a need for it. We actually have a form available online that people can download, and they nominate a school of their choice. This school here, View Elementary, was nominated by a LULAC council over at the Wisconsin Hispanic Scholarship Foundation. It's a one-page form, and we ask them to submit, a student or a parent, to submit a one-page essay as to why they think their school is deserving. Our committee then, at the end of the year, goes through all those nomination forms, and we select a school.
Yo empecé aquí hace 2 años, así que esto inició antes de que yo había llegado, pero me había enterado de que el señor Daryl Morin había donado un sistema de wireless para que teníamos más acceso al internet aquí en la escuela, lo cual es muy importante para los estudiantes. Así que yo sé que el distrito está intentando de tener más acceso al internet para que los estudiantes puedan utilizar más la tecnología en las clases.
Well, when we first looked at doing a technology donation to the schools, we really wanted to partner with a manufacturer too, who could make sure that we brought into the schools the best technology available. What's fascinating enough is the technology that we're actually introducing to the schools here is the exact same technology that was used to run the Olympics in Beijing, China this last summer, that they used at the Super Bowl, and in fact that most of the major corporations around America use today. So we wanted to make sure we brought the best quality equipment into the schools to help give the best educational process possible. By introducing this level of higher technology, it really accomplishes 3 things. It allows the students access, as well as the teachers and educators, access to literally the limitless resources that you could find on the internet today, as well as other forms of online curriculum. Number 2, it really enables the students as they grow and develop an understanding of how technology works, which we're finding is critical to being successful in the private sector when they grow up. And lastly, studies show kids have fun when they're using technology in the educational process. So we really see 3 benefits there by introducing this technology.
Bueno, obviamente el mundo ha cambiado mucho, ahora es un mundo muy técnico, uno tiene que poder manejar la tecnología que anda cambiando todos los días, así que el acceso al internet les da a ellos la oportunidad de usar computadoras que muchos de nuestros estudiantes en casa no tienen, o si lo tienen no es al nivel apropiado o más moderno. Así que les ayuda a ellos a poder usar la tecnología. Además, los maestros en los salones lo usan como un recurso. Buscar información cuando hay que hacer reportes, aprender sobre cosas del mundo, intercambios con estudiantes de otras partes del mundo. Así que todo eso ayuda mucho en escritura, tecnología, matemáticas, en todo les va a ayudar.
Ha cambiado mucho. Cada año siempre hay muchos cambios, pero este año había muchos cambios donde los maestros fueron a tomar clases para esto. Y hay tantos beneficios. Muchos días los niños vienen y están hablando de cosas que han visto en la televisión o juegos nuevos que han salido y se ponen a jugar en la computadora y ellos dan la información con otros estudiantes, entonces ellos ahí mismo quieren meterse en el programa también. Entonces esos niños muchas veces le enseñan a los otros niños y al maestro también.
We want to make learning fun for them. That is the primary objective. There's unfortunately, a huge achievement gap between minority and non-minority students here in Milwaukee. And far too often we're seeing companies such as ourselves having to recruit from outside of Milwaukee or outside the state of Wisconsin because they simply don't have the skills they need here. So we need them to have fun with it. We need them to learn more of the critical components of education, the math, the science, and better reading and writing skills as well. So if we can help increase that just a small bit, we think the program will be a success.
I think it's a good idea to have internet wireless in the school because that way we can do a lot of things. We have done a lot of projects on the computer, like using internet or like using technology. Using the computer helped me a lot, like doing work at home.
Well, we technically go on Project Lead the Way and we do inventor and most of the stuff Mr. Dominguez gives us of projects to do. It helped me in school. We'll use math fact games or to learn more stuff at school instead of just playing around in the computer.
Los niños en esta escuela van a estar mejor preparados para la universidad. Y tú sabes que el futuro es la tecnología y yo pienso que esta escuela y las escuelas públicas ofrecen muchas cosas, beneficios para los niños.
Obviamente agradezco mucho la donación que hayan hecho porque sin eso es muy difícil para nosotros. Siempre los recursos, ya sabemos, ahorita estamos en un ambiente muy difícil económicamente en el país, más que todo en las escuelas públicas, así que nos ha ayudado bastante.
So far, we've donated 5 of the 10 schools we've budgeted for. However, I'm very pleased to report that because of the great success we've had with this program, we've actually substantially increased the number of schools we're planning on donating to. It's a project of passion, and I'm very proud of all of our associates at Advanced Wireless. But we're very proud to be able to come into a school like VIEW, where there has been a need for technology, be able to do what we do, and then to walk from classroom to classroom, seeing them use it, is very rewarding.
En septiembre pasado, el Centro de Recursos para la Mujer Latina, en colaboración con estudiantes de la Universidad de Milwaukee, organizaron un evento para educar a la comunidad sobre la violencia doméstica. Veamos este reportaje de Salvador Gómez.
Domestic violence is not new within the Hispanic community, but it is in other communities as well. We have to continue to raise the level of awareness and the severity and frequency of domestic violence in our community.
En septiembre pasado se llevó a cabo el Día de Acción en contra de la Violencia Doméstica. Este evento fue organizado por estudiantes de la Universidad de Milwaukee y en colaboración con el Centro de Recursos para la Mujer Latina de UW. El propósito del proyecto es concientizar a la comunidad de la importancia de prevenir la violencia doméstica, así como el de apoyar a las familias que cada día enfrentan este problema.
Es un proyecto formado por unos estudiantes de Non-Profit Leadership, Latino Leadership, de Roberto Hernández. Y pues hoy en este día queremos ofrecer a la comunidad la oportunidad de saber un poquito más de lo que es la violencia doméstica.
Latino Non-Profit Leadership Program es un programa que es orientado para individuos que tengan interés en trabajar en organizaciones sin lucro. Lo que está sucediendo hoy es un ejemplo de un proyecto comunitario. El grupo de los individuos que lo están haciendo quieren educar a individuos sobre la violencia doméstica y para recaudar fondos para the Latina Resource Center.
Unfortunately, my story is one of too many stories. Not the worst story that you're probably going to hear today, but nonetheless, a story that should have never happened.
I'm here today because I'm a student of the UW-M Roberto Hernandez Center Latino Nonprofit Leadership Program. And part of that program consists of doing a community project. And the ladies in my group, we thought it was really important to bring awareness to domestic violence issues. And for the reason being that each one of us has been impacted by domestic violence in one way or another in our life.
80% of girls who have been physically abused in their intimate relationships continue to date their abuser. That's huge, just to think that 80% actually continue to date their abuser.
Estamos ofreciendo 3 talleres Uno es del abuso que existe en las relaciones íntimas entre los novios. La segunda es entender los derechos legales de las víctimas de violencia doméstica.
And what the non-immigrant visa said is we want to help undocumented victims. You have to have called and reported the crime.
Y el tercer es cómo reconocer lo que es la violencia doméstica.
Okay, well, there's certain aspects of an intimate relationship that hold people in.
Por muchas razones es importante crear esta conciencia, este conocimiento del problema, porque nosotros, yo pienso, de mi punto de vista, yo pienso que nosotros como latinos, chicanos, mexicanos, lo que sea, tenemos un valor en nuestra cultura que es el qué dirán, y nos preocupa mucho el qué dirán. Todas estas cosas pasan, pero se ocultan. Y nadie debe de saber, porque la familia latina es la familia, ¿verdad? Todo es de la familia, la familia es lo más importante. Pero si una persona piensa, pues no, yo no puedo decir, porque ¿qué van a pensar de mi familia? ¿Qué van a pensar del esposo, del papá, lo que sea? Después no usan esos recursos y nosotros nos quedamos ahí. Y este problema continúa y continúa y continúa. Y esto ya tiene que parar ya.
When we talk about how do we end this, is it possible to end domestic violence?
Hay mitos sobre de que la mujer inmigrante, la mujer que no tiene ningún estado legal aquí en los Estados Unidos, que no tienen los derechos de ser protegidas. Y la información que queremos dar es de que si son protegidas, tienen todos los derechos de recibir los servicios por parte de su seguridad y para sus hijos. Otro mito que existe es de que si una mujer es abusada, que programas como tenemos nosotros piensan que lo vamos a obligar a ellas que se divorcien, que se separen de sus matrimonios, y no, eso no es la información que estamos dando. Lo que queremos dar es, primero es reconocer lo que es estar en una relación donde hay abuso, reconocer cuándo aumenta el peligro para todos en la familia, y también buscar los recursos para tratar de apoyar a esa familia y darles opciones.
My first memories are of my mom screaming, yelling, being abused by different men that were in and out of our lives. And so from the very get-go, when I look back, I think about, why does this have to be a first memory for any child?
I like to call myself a survivor of domestic violence and child abuse and not a victim. My dream would be that we would have no more abuse and violence in the homes, that domestic violence would just be a memory of something that happened in the past. I know a lot of women feel like they're alone, and they need to know that there are opportunities, there are organizations, there's a different way of life for them, and that they deserve it. And to try to reach out to somebody who can help them, I think it's really important.
Latina Resource Center, estamos localizados en la calle 8 de la Metro. Es un hogar, es una casa linda que ofrecemos servicios para la mujer que está interesada de recibir información. Si quiere venir a los grupos de apoyo para las mujeres que han sobrevivido, si quieren recibir servicios para sus niños que han sido testigos de la violencia, o si los niños también son víctimas del abuso sexual. Ese es un lugar donde pueden obtener la seguridad. Todos los servicios son gratis, confidencial y privados. Ahí estamos lunes a viernes, de 8 de la mañana hasta las 5 de la tarde, y se puede comunicar el número es 389-6510.
To be able to understand how domestic violence impacts the lives of every woman, every man, every child is one of the most powerful things that we can do to end domestic violence.
Yo también viví en un hogar donde existía mucho la violencia doméstica. Yo también fui una joven que estuvo en el high school, que sufrí por las manos de mi de mi novio. Me pegó por muchos años y casi me mató. Eso me motivó mucho, y también me motivó sobre la discriminación que existía en cómo los servicios eran para las mujeres latinas. Era como que si ellas siempre son las últimas que reciben la información y los servicios, y yo reconozco eso.
Pues no, me da mucho gusto después de tantos años ver a un grupo de jóvenes, y no son más muchachas, son muchachos y muchachas, son los dos, y eso me da más alegría. Yo estoy muy orgullosa, pero más de eso me da mucha alegría que sí hay otras personas que quieren tomar ese trabajo.
But it gave me the strength to know that I was somebody, that I wasn't worthless.
I'm very, very honored and excited to be here. I think that this is just a great project, and it's a great organization, and I think I'm really excited about the people that are here today, and my hope is that the word just spreads and that we start to realize how important, this issue is impacting people, and I'm just excited that we're here so that we can start to do some more action against this issue.
Me siento tan contenta, de verdad, me siento tan contenta de que un proyecto existe como hoy, y eso me motiva mucho, y mucho más el amor que yo tengo para nuestra comunidad, y ser tan orgullosa de ser mexicana, latina, y es lo que yo quiero hacer, es dar más información para nuestra comunidad. Me siento bien contenta y es un gran honor para mí.
La fuerza del voto latino se ha acentuado en las últimas elecciones. Sin embargo, muchos están de acuerdo que el futuro de esta comunidad depende de una conciencia mayor sobre la importancia de ejercer este derecho y responsabilidad. Louise Pettering, presidenta de la Liga de Mujeres Votantes, nos habla hoy de la importancia de que la mujer latina movilice el voto. Louise, welcome to Adelante.
Thank you very much.
Louise, can you tell us what is the background of the League of Women Voters?
The League of Women Voters was founded in 1920. Its foundation came about because women were in the process of seeking the vote, had been involved in that for several decades, and it looked like the 19th Amendment would be ratified. So in February of 1920, the leadership of the National American Women's Suffrage Association decided that they needed to establish an organization, the one that became the League of Women Voters, that would help women learn the voting process and learn about issues so that they would become involved citizens.
We know that you are very active on voting times,
Yes.
but you also are very busy on everyday influencing different aspects of life. We know that recently you present a position on this issue of the state Supreme Court that is about campaign contributions.
Yes.
Can you comment on that?
Yes, we had petitioned the Supreme Court, and we were at a hearing on October 28th to get the Supreme Court to establish rules so that individuals who had achieved victory as Supreme Court justices would have to step aside from decisions when they had received that involved a contribution from an organization of $1,000 or more. The idea behind it was to assure that people would not be able to influence to buy a seat on the court and buy influence and get a decision that was in their favor rather than a decision based on the law.
So we can see the League standing up in situations that put at risk the system and affect the democracy and the rights of everyone in our state.
Right. We want the courts to be fair, to be just and impartial. And when a person makes a large contribution or an organization makes a large contribution, it often has the appearance, and sometimes does have the effect, of controlling a decision. And we wanted the Supreme Court to be a just, fair, and impartial organization, and that was a position that we thought would assure that. Everybody who goes to court wants to know that they're going to have their case heard fairly.
And right now, your position was rejected.
Correct.
It was not considered
Correct.
in what is happening right now in the Supreme Court in the state.
Right now in the Supreme Court in the state, the idea that we are promoting is that there be public financing of Supreme Court elections. So that is legislation that we have supported. It was passed by both the Senate and the Assembly in the state, and it is awaiting the governor's signature. So we're looking forward to that signature.
To that,
right.
what will be happening on that. The Latino vote has been under the look of many in this country. What is your opinion on the role that women can play to empower more the influence of Latinos in this country?
I think Latinos need to become more involved in organizations like the League. Our organization basically has a pattern that reflects the governmental organization. As we have local governments, we have local leagues. We have a state government, we have a state league. We have national government, we have a national league. So the League has local leagues that make up the state league, and the state leagues make up the national league along with the local leagues. So the basis for government is reflected in the League of Women Voters. We are multi-issue. We obviously know that life is not simple and in fact becoming increasingly complicated. And so the idea is that we look at different issues, we study them from many points of view. Then we come up with questions, and then our members come to agreement or not on the questions that have been developed based on our studies. Once our members come to agreement, we have positions that we support. For instance, the one I can mention is one on payday lending. Payday lending in this state does drain a lot of money from our communities and the state as a whole. Last year, $168 million left Wisconsin. We have over 520 payday loan institutions here in the state. There were 2 in the mid-90s, and most of these entities are owned out of state. So the profits leave Wisconsin. The money that our people have earned and spend stays here. But if you get a payday loan and you end up getting trapped in not being able to pay that loan back, then that money does leave the state in the form of profits. And doesn't do our citizens any good because we're not paying taxes. That money is not recirculating. It is not producing tax dollars that provide the services that we all expect and need.
And we can expect that for sure many Latino families are being trapped in this kind of places and affected by that. There is the 2010 census. How politically important is for Latinos to consider and be part of the census?
It's critical that Latinos become part of the census. The census forms are going to be mailed to households in March, and it is on the basis of those census data that we in Wisconsin have our representation in the House of Representatives determined. It's the foundation of our government. It also relates to the amount of money that comes back to Wisconsin from the federal government. Over a 10-year period, $12,000 per person come back to the state of Wisconsin. And so it is, and many of those dollars support programs that are critical to Latinos. So it is very, very important that Latinos do complete that census form when it arrives at their household and get it sent in by April 1st. There have been rumors that the census data is shared with governmental agencies. It is not. It is kept by the Census Bureau, and that Census Bureau is the only agency that retains that data.
So people who has no documents,
correct,
should be participating.
Oh, definitely. People who are citizens, people who are residents, and people who are not documented should all be counted in that census. Sure.
Luis, where can people find more information about the League of Women Voters?
Well, we have a website, and it's LW-Milwaukee.org. I can provide that to you electronically. And we also have a bulletin. We have an office with a phone number, and that number is 273-8683. We certainly would welcome calls. We would like to diversify our membership further, and we'd very much welcome Latinos, Latinas. We do have men as well as women who are members, so though our predominant membership is women.
Luis, thank you very much for being part of our show.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Al final de un programa más, por favor déjenos saber sus comentarios en nuestro teléfono 297-7544 o escríbanos a nuestra dirección de correo electrónico en adelante@matc.edu y visítenos en nuestro sitio de internet en mptv.org. Sintonícenos en canal 10.1 HD todos los martes a las 6:30 de la tarde y en canal 36.1 DT los miércoles a las 12:30 de la medianoche y los domingos a las 5:30 de la tarde. Soy Patricia Gómez, muy buenas noches.